just being on the same page is super important. I mean, like Hugh spoke to earlier, neither one of us are like the fastest runners. And I've always felt tremendously comfortable with Hugh and just really enjoyed the whole experience from start to finish. It's just been wonderful days out there. And it's just, to me, for me, that's what it's all about, is just going out and enjoying a day and having these wonderful experiences. And so if you're a super competitive type, then you need to be on the same page with your partner about that's what you want to get out of the day. So just really, enjoying the day. And I don't think I've ever seen Hugh frustrated. I think I'm lucky.
I mean, yeah, I agree with Sarah. And like, you don't have to train with the person regularly. You don't have to run at the same speed or swim at the same pace. But if you just want to go out and enjoy the day together, it's amazing. Even if you just meeting the person the day before, it can be a really amazing experience. And you can connect with them and keep doing races with them for many years down the line.
Welcome to the Low Tide Boys, a Swimrun podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 320 of the show. Partners Month continues, everyone.
Woohoo!
And joining us this week is the mixed team of Sarah and Hugh, a.k.a. Team Party Pace, an all-time swimrun team name.
A very top Swimrun team name. And it's been a long time coming having these two on the show. Sarah is a fellow Novato resident where Chris and I live. There's only 4 swim runners in Novato,
Yes.
and Sarah is one of them. And Hugh, you may remember Hugh from his appearance in the 250-ish episode, 255 range. That would be a year or so, 2 years ago, actually. We brought him on to chat all things carbon fiber paddles as he was doing some extensive testing. But yeah, another great partnership. Love hearing the different stories, how well they got on. Started out at Casco Bay, led to love the Swimrun World Championship, which, you'll hear all about it.
Yeah, I mean, and what I love about Partners Month is really highlighting, it's like, hey, someone's in Illinois and someone's in California. No worries.
It can happen.
It's just
It
a
still can
detail.
happen.
You can still make it work
It's a
and
minor
still develop
detail.
a friendship and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, this month always makes me feel warm and fuzzy, and this interview doesn't disappoint. But before we get to that interview,
Show business?
show business. You're right, Chipper.
Oh,
It's
it
show
is.
business. So we asked Dave Dammer, who is our super intern in charge of special projects, to come on the show to talk about Dave's list, because we did a major update. The UX has been updated. The data's updated. All the races, now you can see it on a map and stuff. So we asked him to come on just to kind of get his insight as to kind of what his findings were. And
Yeah, he
curious tidbits.
It's always good catching up with the super intern Dave. And yeah, he brought some cool stats. He was quizzing us, which we were not prepared for and did not study for, but really excited that Dave's list has new life into it.
Yeah.
188 races now across 27 different countries, but you'll hear all about it with this update and catch up with Dave Dammer, aka Mr. Dave's List himself.
All right, joining us for our first update of Dave's list is Dave himself, our super intern in charge of special projects, Dave Dammer. How the hell are you?
Doing great, guys. How about you?
Pretty good.
So stoked to talk to you. And I love how the title every year, your title's getting bigger and bigger, as it should, because you deliver more and more for us. So great to have you on.
Well, it's my pleasure. This list update has been in progress now for a while, since probably about November-ish. And it's come together really well. I'm excited to talk about it.
Awesome.
So tell us kind of like, well, what have you found? Give us sort of the high level numbers, and then we'll get a little more granularity.
So for those who are less familiar, what we're talking about is this thing called Dave's List, which is the most complete global race calendar that we can believe is in existence. And, we started it up. When did we do that? At the end of 2024. And it's, living and breathing as we speak. And just recently really combed through everything that's happening, found a couple of additional sources of information, and the list is now up to, my gosh, I think 186-ish races around the world, starting in January, going to now November. there are likely to be some races in December that just haven't published their dates yet. So I'm always kind of keeping my eye out on races that have happened in the past that might come through again. I think 27 countries is the count. So it is truly a worldwide phenomenon.
Wow.
And, there's some interesting things emerging in this space. I think from a sheer number of races, it's round about the same as maybe what we saw take place in 2025, with some dropping off, some new stuff coming on, and a good bit of variety there. So what are you guys curious about in terms of what's going on?
Yeah. So I guess maybe a good place to start is country with most swim runs. Where's the most dense swim run country? I think I have a guess.
France is where it's at.
France. Yeah.
That was my guess.
Is that what you were
France
going to
is-
guess?
Yeah.
France, yeah, I think current count is 65
Wow.
races in France. And when you consider that most of those races have multiple distance options, it's just a wealth of opportunity in the country of France throughout the year, which is really, really exciting. And that's one of the pockets of new information that I found most recently, was that sub calendar specific to France. So yeah, it's really quite amazing that, a country of that sort of relative geographic size can hold and support that level of racing. Sweden is there. Sweden has, I think, 26 events, and England in the third spot with 16.
Wow. Nice. Okay.
How
so
many
that's
do
the
we have in
podium
the
of races.
US?
That is the US. US is coming in at 11 for 2026 so far. Some of the smaller ones have dropped out. We know the calendar changes with regard to ÖTILLÖ and their schedule in the US. So yeah, it's pretty healthy. And my wife actually stumped me with a question, so I went fishing for the answer. Pun intended. And I want to quiz you guys a little bit to keep you on your toes here.
Oh
All
boy.
right.
Okay. Did you
We're
study, Chris? No. Okay. Just like I'm getting flashbacks to college
Going in
days.
blind,
This
baby.
isn't okay.
All right.
Ride or die.
If you want to swim in the saltwater, how many races have opportunities to do that out of the 186? What kind of ballpark do you think?
Oh, so ocean versus like
Yeah.
a lake or some other.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably drops down a lot. I'd probably say not even 20.
No, I'm gonna say 40% are saltwater swim runs.
I'm not
So
going to do
whatever
the
the
math
math-
right now.
Okay.
82 races feature saltwater.
82.
Yeah, which is
pretty
way
good.
more than I thought.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you can't really see that from Dave's list. How did you figure that out? Well, funny you should ask. The recent update published today on the site happens to show a global map with the pin locations of these races.
Great
So
plug.
zooming in, you can see, which ones are on the coast in those types of areas. And, just churning down through the list, country by country, you can see that, it's around about 80, 82-ish, which I was a little surprised at in terms of that high of a proportion, given how challenging it is to, do open water in those kinds of settings. And we did see some races for weather canceled during 2025 due to challenging conditions there. So yeah, you can get salty. Plenty of opportunities to get salty out there.
Yeah, that's a
absolutely.
good question. That's a great question.
I like that.
And
Is there a swim run in every ocean?
You've
Is the
got
Arctic Ocean? I don't
Like
think there's
Arctic
anything
Ocean?
going that way.
there's
So
nothing
maybe
going
6
on there.
oceans?
There
Okay.
is at least one in the Indian Ocean. Atlantic is covered. Pacific is covered. North Pacific's not really represented, but South Pacific is.
yep. Yeah. Sorry. We have Bali Hope Swim Run.
Yeah,
Yeah. Australia. There's an ocean over there
correct.
around.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, you get tips from Low Tide Boys listeners and race directors. Hey, Dave, you're missing my race, or my favorite race isn't on the list. Here's an update for you. You're also doing a tremendous amount of work on your own out there, scouring the depths of the internet and what exists out there. What's been kind of your white buffalo race that has really hard for you to find, or the one that came in the smallest one, do you think?
I got caught a little off guard in November last year of one or more races that were being put on in Guadalupe. And I think one of them took place in December. and there are others that are scheduled. So that just, I think, popped up. So a little bit about the process here. This process is pretty hands-on and pretty a little bit analog and quite a bit organic. I'm not relying much on AI to tell me much of anything other than maybe to start to lead me down a path. So it's a matter of finding races that have presence on social media, going out and seeing, what's just sort of popping up in general out there in various and sundry places. And then going and interacting with the race webpage itself. Every race that's on the list, I've seen the website for, and they vary from a simple sign-up site with very bare bones information to, some of the more elaborate ones that you encounter that have anything you can think of, including travel information and those sorts of things. Like you would see, say, from ÖTILLÖ, or I was particularly taken by the Grinda website just because it's promoting things to all athletes of all ages, athletes of all abilities, and a really, really unique setup that I'll talk about in a little bit. So yeah, I think it was that it makes sense that there would be some races in that kind of Caribbean area. And, that Guadalupe one just kind of popped out at me, I think, through one of the French sites that I take a peek at from time to time.
You're probably feeling pretty confident about your French reading abilities these days with all the 65 race sites that you've encountered, or a lot of Google Translate.
Shout out to New York State High School Foreign Language Education. My dad actually ran that bureau when he was working. So yeah, the high school French does come in handy from time to time. Google Translate definitely comes in handy because my Swedish is just not going to happen.
Yeah, we know the feeling.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, 3 years of Duolingo, and I can tell you what the food is, but that's about it.
And that's pretty important to know, though, I will, in your defense. Yeah.
It has been helpful. Dave, any other interesting kind of in your travels? Because it's one thing to, as you alluded to, sort of just assembling the list is just like a Herculean effort. But now that the list is essentially built, like the process of refining it and pulling races on, pulling them off, do you feel like like I said at the intro, it's like you kind of have your finger on the pulse of what's happening and sort of on the swim run globally? Any sort of trends that you're seeing, or anything in the work that's you find interesting?
Yeah, I love that question. There seems to be a bit of coalescing in the space of groupings of races. I think we saw, like, the International Triathlon Federation now, has brought Swimrun under it somehow, and no one is really all that clear about what that actually means. But certain countries have sort of race series. There's the Sprint Cup now in Sweden. There's a set of races in all different countries making up a group of races called the My Swimrun World Championship Series. There's always been races with the ÖTILLÖ Merit designation to kind of point towards gaining points and getting one's team ready. And there's a new series in France called the Harmonie Mutuelle series, where there's some of it is kind of incentivizing, hey, signing up for a bundle of races, for a certain type of experience. That's one trend I'm seeing. Another trend that's kind of I'm paying close attention to is the emergence and maybe just an increase of variety of formats. And what I mean by that is, you've got, let's say, a long course distance race. We're all pretty familiar with what that looks and feels like. Maybe it's point to point or not, but the formats I'm talking about, I've seen there's a small handful of races now that you're racing for 2 hours, and however many loops you complete in that 2 hours of their short course. So you can see the advantage for, race organizers of a format like that. It's tightly contained. It attracts a certain type of, full gas type of athlete.
Short course racing, yeah.
Fire it up. There are also, I think now there's like 7 races with an eliminator style to it, meaning
Awesome.
you're going multiple times. Each time you come through, you get a little less time to complete the next one, and then it becomes, person versus person at the end. So, it's appealing to possibly solo racers, possibly people maybe at the speedier but shorter distance end of things. And almost to the other extreme of that is there's at least a couple now, even in just within the EX family of races, of safari style races. One with no defined course, but checkpoints that you get a day or two before the event, almost like One Water, but a shorter kind of duration. And then there's kind of more of an expedition style. EX has one called the Super Safari that's guided, sort of more of an experience and not necessarily a race. And there's another one in another archipelago in Sweden called Kinga, which is a 4-day, 140K expedition. Again, not a race, but just getting out there, covering the distance with a group of people. So
Sounds fun. Chris, what are you doing?
It's like
I'm
we
like,
gotta
hold
get a
on, I didn't-
sponsorship.
Yeah.
It's great, be
We gotta
great
get
content
that.
for the show.
the wi- I,
That's what
I
I'll tell
think the
my
wives
wife.
are out of earshot, right? That theme of kind of greater variety for greater different types of experiences, small, large. I mentioned earlier that the race called Grinda, which I think is put on by Nico and friends, and that has a range of options where you can kind of casually complete loops in the morning. But if you want to race in the competitive end of things, you have to complete all those loops in the morning and then join the competitive waves in the afternoon. So that, I think it's making the sport as accessible as it can be within the realm
Love
of
that.
land and water, in, maybe more, in those kind of cases, more tightly contained physical spaces, requires less water support and those kinds of things, and has the advantage of, attracting a little bit more high adrenaline type stuff at the shorter distance end of things. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing trend wise.
I love those.
Yeah.
I think it's really, for everyone listening, or majority of people here are in the U.S. So just the breadth and the diversity of what Swimrun means outside of the U.S. is just really cool to see that. And I know, as Keen as Mustard and We Swimrun are doing some of those Eliminators as well. And
Yes.
and obviously kind of EX Swimrun similar in there with some of their short course stuff, but just what a cool way to just do Swimrun, and people that enjoy that adventure are going to kind of get it any way they can. And Eliminator sounds fun. I wish there was one in the US we could do.
And honestly, what I was just thinking, got to give our flowers to EX Swimrun, because they're the ones
Yeah.
who really were innovating, really been on the front end on a lot of this stuff, like
In
the
that
Safari,
sprint
where
state,
they
yeah.
did the Pursuit, the Super Sprint, sort of heat based, really easy to watch. Yeah, so you really have to give it up to them for not just obviously being super stoked on Swimrun, but really originating a lot of these alternative formats, which now, as we mentioned, like We Swimrun, and as Ketis Mustard also did this really early on, just
Yeah,
as
the
a way.
Liverpool.
Just as a way of making it really accessible for people. It's like, yeah, come out. If you want to go fast, want to do 10 loops, have at it. You want to just do one and check it out? No worries. So it's cool. These formats also really make it really conducive for beginners to kind of just literally dip their toe in without having to go too hard.
And I know the Langfords like that Eliminator style as well. And even though they're just on the, more for the doing it for the fun of it than, being at the front of the pack, they still get 3 or 4 loops in. So they still get to be out there for a bit and have a good experience. So even if you're just out there to have fun, you get to do something fun for 60 to 90 minutes, have a good time. And, the parking lot's right there. You probably walk right out, and a really easy commute. So love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's really important for, having opportunities for all different kinds of athletes to kind of try and see, or even, on the super competitive end of things, see what it looks like to go full gas, and how quickly can you transition effectively, doing something like that when your heart rate is probably maxed out. So if somebody's wondering, okay, we're talking about Dave's list, we're talking about unique features, where you'd find that information is kind of over to the right on the list in the comments field. That's where we try and comment about anything unique there. Like, is it part of a race series? Is it endorsed by any race organizing company? Is it an eliminator? What are some of those unique features that's over there in the comment section, if it's not already in the title of the race. So one of the things, we've thought and talked about a little bit is, how fully featured to make the list and the user experience on the site. And the intention is to not share every single possible piece of information that could be made available, because at least for me, and I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I would love for, the user, the seeker of the race, to go and interface with the race organizer's website to get as much information that they need, right? It's highly personal, your interaction with the race, and are you willing to travel for it? Is the information clear enough for you? Can you get a sense of the elevation gain and all those kinds of lots and lots of details that are associated with any race? This list is a jumping off point for exploration, is kind of how I would put it. It's so it's not going to say every single detail you might possibly be curious about, but it's going to point you certainly in a direction to start dreaming and planning about.
Yeah, and that's kind of part of the fun
Great
too.
call
It's
out.
like, you kind of start your planning by going to some random website, some random language, and maybe it translates, maybe it doesn't. You kind of got to sort it out. And certainly that's almost part of the adventure, is like trying to figure out logistics. I remember, Chipper, when you were doing Lake Vassavir, like we were like, okay, this is
That
where
was
this
fun.
is the bus you want to take,
It's
and
like-
the whole thing, and you're kind of sorting out the adventure. And so well made, Dave, that it's like, hey, we want this list. We just want to show you how many events they are, where they are, when they are, and then if something piques your interest, works with your schedule, have at it.
There's enough things to catch your eye and get you interested in, and,
Yeah.
and go dive in deeper.
Or another use case, which is, this is certainly how I've used Dave List for myself unsuccessfully, but this is the use case. It's like, hey, you're going to be in some random town on some random date. Why don't I just go see if there's a swim run happening that weekend?
Exactly.
Why not? Why not?
My wife and I are fortunate to be experiencing a milestone wedding anniversary later this year. And I was like, so, should we plan a trip somewhere? And she's like, you're probably going to want to plan a trip that includes a place that has a race or two, aren't you? And she said so kind of with a little squint in her eye. And now she's down for anything, right? She's been to all different kinds of race venues. She and I volunteered at the finish line in Whistler, had a blast. So, there is that possibility, right? One of the things that the list can tell you about is, hey, I want to be in this neck of the woods round about this time of year. I think, Chip, you did this, right, for your race in France last year. There's a couple of really interesting looking weeks that I do want to highlight to everybody.
Oh, get your calendars out, everyone.
Yeah. So the final weekend in June and the first weekend in July, between those two weekends, there are 20 race offerings. So if you were to find two of them that were close enough together, you could possibly, hit up a couple races in the same trip. The same thing goes for, I think it's the second and third weekends in September of this year, where there's roughly, I think, 21. So that's like June 27th, July 4th weekend, or September 12th, September 20th weekend. I was poking through, the list on my side of things, the raw spreadsheet, and I was curious, okay, are there any bookended weekends that have that density to them? And there's a couple examples of it.
Now you're thinking, Dave, this is good stuff. This is exactly what Chris and I do. We would be like, hey, how could we kind of make these weekends work out or maximize our swim run opportunities?
Is there a race that needs us to be there?
They
Yes.
certainly are. They certainly are. Oh,
It
so
feels like-
here's another callback. So this shout out to Marcus Barton. So back in the day, I think the last year was supposed to happen. It actually happened was like 2019, where Swimrun Georgia was on a Saturday and Swimrun Lake James was on a Sunday. And he would do that race, get in the car, drive over to North Carolina
3-hour, 4-hour drive or
to do the
something.
back-to-back. And I think the last year that happened was in 2019. And I think in 2020, after we did Catalina, everyone was all buzz about Swimrun. We were talking to the Swimrun Georgia organizer and all this stuff. And we were like all hot and heavy. And then, COVID happened and kind of like put a kibosh on all that stuff. But since hearing that story, I've always been like, where's the Saturday, Sunday Swimrun thing? I know you can do it in Wales. There's a weekend where you can make that happen. I don't know if it still works with Con, where you could do Con on Saturday. And I think it was another race in the
Nice.
in
the
the
coast.
freaking French Riviera, Côte de Vermeil.
Might be Côte d'Azur. Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
Few down on the
Yeah.
coast.
Nice.
Yeah. So you could get these like back to backs. Like that would be amazing. And if you want to try to sort that out for yourself, obviously there's only one place you can go to do that. David, you're amazing. It's so cool. And Chipper, why don't you
Yes.
tell the folks at home the recent revamp of that page?
Yeah, so the list existed previously up until day of recording on basically a Google sheet. So just a big spreadsheet on there, easy. Everyone knows how to work it. But, we always were kind of thinking, oh man, a map element would be some sort of visual element that could help you kind of stitch together your adventure. But it was just something that we hadn't, had the time or the energy to put into it. But the list was definitely working. With the advance of AI technology and quote unquote vibe coding tools, I took it upon, I was like, I'm going to vibe code using the list. It's still the data source, but how can we see this on Google Maps? So me and Claude, we were working together for a couple hours and we got it figured out. So the days list has had the visual enhancements, map functionality, all this filtering and sorting that you are normally engaged in doing. Boom, still there for you. You can toggle between kilometers and miles, and all Dave's comments for the race and the personal touch is still there. But yeah,
Awesome.
It's fantastic work. And, I think I mentioned in our emailing back and forth, it's very appropriate that this happens during Partners Month, right? We're kind of teaming up on, how do you make this list as usable as possible, and even teaming with a machine to get the help, right? But yeah, it's a pleasure to work on. It's a pleasure to, find new things. I do still think there's going to be more races added.
yes.
There's a subsection of races that were held last year in Italy that haven't popped up yet. From a scheduling point of view, they've just been kind of brought under the wing of their triathlon federation. So I expect that'll be a chunk that will be arriving, and who knows, we could be north of 190
200
races or before we know it.
Amazing.
Nice.
Amazing. Yeah. And, in another 5 years, Triathlete Magazine will put out another piece about how this is Swimrun and started with the drunken bet and all this stuff. I don't know. I just have to say, Triathlete Magazine, as someone, Chipper, we used to write for this magazine as freelancers.
that's
Come on,
true.
man. You guys can't even do your own research on stuff you've already published on Swimrun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really glad they shouted out Dave's list. And I think that was huge. And hopefully that helps people find Swimrun. But I'm also like, come on, man. Like, so disappointed.
The
stuff out of it. You don't
recycling,
want to talk about it.
Recycling the same article.
Of the things that we can control and or influence, that's maybe on the outer part of the rings there.
Seriously.
Fair.
Seriously.
But it's nice to see Dave's list get its worthy promotion. Yeah, as Chris mentioned, cited in the Triathlete and latest Triathlete article. That's cool. I know some new swimrun podcasts, the Wild Ones podcast, it leverages it as well. And I know others around are kind of using it to plan their seasons out. And Chris, we use it all the time.
You do.
We listen to everything. We get high in our own supply, and that supply is Dave's list.
Well, and I get a little excited sometimes when something new pops up, and I send you guys a note about it, and hopefully that's contagious.
If you have an update for Dave's list,
That's
send
what I
an
was
email, lowtideboys@gmail.com, and we'll forward it directly to Dave. It's a great system. The community is really helping pull this together. So we're missing stuff, and people suggest races or let us know there's one missing. Keep on doing that.
Absolutely.
You also post updates when you get a batch of races periodically on your Instagram, and we'll share those as well. So,
Yeah, I usually
you
tag
can,
you guys
follow
on
on
that so
Instagram
that
as well.
we get the reach from that. Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it and keep putting in the work to make the list as good as it can be.
Intern
Dave.
of the year.
He's in line for promotion if you keep this up.
I don't know if I can handle that. I don't know if I can handle that pressure. I mean, I got training to do. I got to figure out how I'm gonna get through Casco Bay and all that. But I will.
Give us a little bit of an update. I've been seeing you back on Strava. Obviously, you're in the Low Tide Boys Strava group, but how's it come? How's the training coming? And what do you got on the calendar?
I'm really happy with how the training's going. Just consistent work. Not a lot of heroics, but really good, consistent work. Focusing these days on quite a bit of strength for I got some new hip hardware installed a little less than a year ago, so that process has been pretty smooth. Comeback race was Austin Sprint with shout out Tom and the team of Here Be Dragons. And we'll be coming back, Wendy and I, as Team Dammer and Tongs for World Series distance Casco Bay, which will be a big swing.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice stuff.
And
That's exciting.
the long course at Cape Cod. And we'll
Sweet.
see what else.
Man,
Sweet.
sounds like we have a couple Dunkin' Donut trips in our future when we see each other.
There will be some fika happening for sure. Both of those races are drivable for me, so that's good. I got a little bit intrigued about the Central New York race that some of the folks on the Wild Ones podcast were talking about recently. That's drivable.
Yes.
Seneca Lake is a beautiful lake to swim in, so I may show up there at the end of June as well. We'll see how it goes.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a Mud Skipper one, I believe, right? A Mud Skipper is kind of
It is
been
Mud
doing some
Skipper race.
expanding as well.
They've got races in New York State, Indiana, California, in the U.S., and quite a few across Canada.
No, it's more swim run. The more swim runs, the better, right? That's
Good
our
stuff.
motto.
Yeah. And you asked about training. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out my coach, Holly, at Meta Performance. Has been great in helping keep me on the path. And right now, the name of the game is consistency. So feeling really good about that, and more squats and lunges than I've ever done in my life, but it's helping a lot.
Hey,
Wow, you're gonna
Chipper's
be a
also been
beast.
doing more, just like Chipper, you've been doing more squats and lunges you've ever done in your life. Probably
Oh
for
my
this
gosh.
High Rocks thing, right?
Yeah.
It's all
Uh,
good. Strength is our friend for sure as we get into this space.
Absolutely.
Indeed. All right, Dave. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for the update. Thanks for all the hard work. Appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Definitely.
Take care.
Thanks, man.
Well, it's so awesome to hear how Swimrun is happening all over the globe. 180 something races there, over 20 plus countries. Pretty amazing.
Absolutely. And I think, the fact that Dave's list was in Triathlete magazine, and the fact that despite what Hoob Wetsuits thinks, the sport of triathlon is alive and well and doesn't feel like a fad to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the difference in formats outside of the United States. We got some Eliminator, multi-day stuff, and kind of
Yep.
everything in between. It's just really cool to see what shape Swimrun takes outside of the U.S. and around the world.
Yeah, you know what I saw today? So we're recording this intro on a Tuesday. EX Swimrun
Yes.
have an exclusive update
Ooh.
on EX Swimrun. Their Super Sprint, which now they're calling their Super Sprint World Championship, which, hey, why the
Why
hell
not?
not? They've moved the date. So
Oh.
the new date for the EX Super Sprint is October 30th, exactly 1 week before ÖTILLÖ, which I just think chef's kiss on that.
It's very interesting.
It is very interesting, isn't it?
That's very interesting. For a couple of people that enjoy swim running, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so I think that race is going to be really, really cool this year.
We'll
They
sharpen
might
it.
have to have some more waves for us mere mortals because, yeah, that would be super fun. So yeah, I just saw that today. So
Nice.
didn't even
Well,
get a chance to text you.
it'll be
on air.
reflected on Dave's list as soon as possible. And if you have a race that isn't on Dave's list for some reason, shoot us an email, lowtideboys@gmail.com, and we'll hit that forward button and we'll send it right on to Dave.
Right on.
Right on over to Dave, and he'll take care of it. But again, enough can't be said for all the hard work that Dave has put into this. He's literally out there scouring the depths of the internet, finding all the details about the race and consolidating them in the most complete data set that we have about swimmer races around the world. And now it got a upgrade and a facelift. So head on over to lowtideboys.com and check that out.
And I think with that, we should, before we go to the show,
Yeah.
we have to wish you, on behalf of myself,
Me?
on behalf of myself and all of our listeners and viewers, we wanted to wish you a happy High Rocks debut
Yes.
this coming weekend. Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you. So my wife and I are racing in the mixed doubles. So we're a team. My wife and I are a team.
Yeah. Do you have a team name?
The tentative team name is Mom and Dad Did a High Rocks. Mom and Dad Do a High Rocks.
Oh,
But our start time is at 8:30 p.m. in Las Vegas. So I guess Vegas is just getting warmed up. And if we haul ass on this thing, we'll be wrapped up past our bedtimes at 10 p.m. So Chris will be asleep when I text him how it went. I already know that. So
Oh yeah, that's
but
past
yeah,
my bedtime.
we're really looking forward to it, and it will be cool. Another partner thing in partner month with my life partner, and
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. So it's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know we're gonna have a low tide wife on the show, so that'll
Yeah,
be fun.
for her second
we
appearance.
we don't have those too often, so
We'll have
that's great.
to do something with the plant here.
Yeah,
She probably doesn't want to sit on that thing.
I think you'd be the one sitting
I
on.
would probably be sitting on the plant. I'll be squatting down in between the two.
Yeah, or we could get another chair.
Well, we could do that too. Yeah. Anyway, let's pick up this party pace and pass it on over. Ooh, that was lots of plosives there, to our conversation with Sarah and Hugh, Team Party Pace, for this penultimate Partners Month episode.
Partners Month continues with, I must say, this is one of my favorite team names. Team Party Pace. Welcome to the show, Hugh, and a fellow Nevadaoan. There's only 3 swim runners in Nevada that we know about. Sarah's one of them. Welcome
Well,
to the show.
4, because you can't forget about Robin, my partner for Folsom.
That's right. There are 4 people. Look at us, increasing our numbers. But yeah, welcome to the show, guys. Hugh, you were on the show. Chipper was just saying like 100 episodes ago, our resident carbon fiber expert. But how are you guys? How's 2026 treating you?
Good. Still on the laurels of 2025 from Worlds, I would say. What about you, Hugh?
Yeah, 2026 is going well. I've been training a little bit, taking some trips with the family. It's going pretty well.
Yeah, how about you, Sarah?
Ramping up for 2026. Hugh and I are going to do Colorado and Casco Bay, and I have a few other races lined up before that.
Yeah, a few other crazy. So Sarah's on the crazy train when it comes to
Trying to be
events.
incognito.
250 miler, who knows what else, bunch of 100Ks and stuff. So we know you guys very well. Team Party Pace, you guys did Worlds last year. Why don't you tell us the origin story, how you guys got together as a swimrun team, and tell us a little bit about your journey and like trying to fine tune your partnership.
Yeah, well, I think I found Hugh in 2022. Is that right? I had done Casco Bay, I think 3 or 4 times before with my partner, Jenny Hinshaw, and she got injured. So I went out to the Facebook partner finder page and did a shout out and rolled the dice. And Hugh reached out and we kind of exchanged Strava pages and decided that we'd probably be a really good fit together. And that's, we ended up spending 6 hours together or whatever the time was on Casco Bay, getting to know each other that first year.
Nice.
Yeah, Sarah kind of fell in my lap, like right when I decided to branch out and try to find someone to partner with for Casco. It was my dream race for some time. Tried to recruit people locally, but it was going to be a longer process to get someone to fly out to Maine. And I always really dreamed about it. She posted looking for a partner, and she seemed like a great fit. She had a swimming background. She had done the race, I don't know how many times previously, but she seemed like a good fit, and our first race went really well. We had a great time.
You basically got a tour, Hugh, of Casco. Since, Sarah, you live, or your parents or someone owns an island out in the Casco Bay, so you're already are out
They don't
there.
own
And
an
you've done
island.
the race
They own a house.
a house. I mean, they reside on the island is how I should have said it.
Yeah, they have a summer home on Long. So my husband and I were
Yeah.
on one of the beaches out there. So it's kind of a special place for us.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah, it was amazing doing the race with Sarah. She knows so much about all the different islands. And not just that, but like I had never done a lot of ocean swimming before, so her knowledge of reading all the tides, she taught me so much about the course and swim run in general, really. She was way more experienced than me, so I learned so much from her.
Yeah, Casco Bay is really fun too because I spent many summers racing sailboats up there before I got into Swimrun. So I do know the tides and the water and the currents and everything really well just from sailing. But having been on Long Island, I mean, a lot of the islands you don't really get to. You kind of stay on your one local community island. People go out to peaks or other areas, but like Cushing is a private island, so you don't really get out to a lot of other places. And even though I had sailed around them and seen them and was very familiar with them, I really hadn't experienced them. So being on the islands and doing the race is actually really amazing and a really fun experience.
So I happen to know you guys very well. So I have a question that's a little bit loaded because one of the things we talk about on this show a lot, bear with me, is, it's really important to sort of align on goals. So I know that Hugh was a former D1 swimmer. He's just a beast of a swimmer. Sarah, you're no slouch, but you're not a D1 swimmer. So,
I was a D1 swimmer.
you were a
Excuse
D1
me?
swimmer? I thought.
Oh my
I didn't
word.
know you were a D1 swimmer. Oh my goodness. I am so
redact.
sorry. I'm
I
so
mean,
sorry.
it was 30 years
redact that
ago,
statement.
but
I totally redact that statement.
but University of Maine. So that was that's another reason
That's
why it's
awesome.
my home
No, that's
state
awesome.
and course. Yeah.
But the point being is, we hear a lot of people's like, oh, it's going to be super mismatched in terms of paces. Like, it's not going to work as a teammate. But obviously it works for you guys. Again, Sarah, no offense. I don't mean that you're a slouch swimmer, but I see Hugh's just like casual swim times. And I'm just like, oh my God, that must be nice. Did you guys have conversations about like, fitness levels, paces, and things like that when you guys were thinking about becoming teammates?
I
I'll let
remember
you.
being more concerned about running paces, and because I'm not the best runner and I don't want to be having to push myself harder than I can go and just like getting towards the end of the race and just struggling a lot. So I was more concerned about running, and Sarah and I are very much aligned pace-wise running. Swimming, it was my first time partnering with anyone, so I didn't know how that would go. But in general, I don't think the swim pace has to be too aligned. I've swim run with other people and don't even notice if I'm pulling them. If the tether's taut, it's taut, but I don't notice too much.
Yeah, Hugh is a beast. He's a good guy to swim behind. That's for sure. And actually, in most of my other partners, I had been the lead swimmer, so it was actually a very nice welcome change to be in the back.
It's nice in the back, right? It's like
It is.
so nice in the back.
I could
Yeah.
see that working out well at Casco. Sarah just kind of like backseat driving from back. Like, here's the current. You this way. Like, it's just
Yes.
she trying to steer from the back.
I think
like,
I've only
watching
done that
the
like
current.
once.
I remember very distinctly there. I think it was maybe from Peaks to Cushing, and maybe every year after I've looked for that swim for the current to be as strong, and it hasn't been as strong. And maybe it was just because I was new. But that swim that first year, the current was really strong, and I could not swim straight. I would take like a couple strokes. I'd look to sight, and I was like turned. And at some point, Sarah did yell like more left, more left, more left. But like she did a great job before the swims, really telling me how to aim and all that sort of stuff. So she did great before we got in the swims and told me how to go. Taught me a lot.
That's a good pro tip too, especially at where there's ocean swims involved. It's worth the extra 5 to 10 seconds to stop before you crash into the water. Assess the situation. How are the currents? How are the tides going? In Casco, the lobster buoys will be going one way or the other. And then you kind of plan where you're going to aim, take an extra beat or two, then charge in and do the swim. You'll save yourself so much more time than, having to readjust constantly throughout the swim if you don't really know where you're going or you get pulled too hard by the currents. So that's definitely a good use of time.
Yeah, I have a funny back of this swim story. We were going last year from over to Peaks from one of the diamonds, I think, after the jump, I want to say. We didn't jump. Anyways, it was the one we were supposed to go straight across and then go down the beach. But we kind of took the long swim approach and went diagonal because we were stronger swimmers. And a kayaker kept tapping me and being like, no, go straight. And I'm like, I'm not leading. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, I'm just following him. I'm like, go tell
I'm just
him.
along for the ride here.
Yeah.
We would prefer a longer swim instead
Yeah,
of
and
running on the sand. So
we
we're
kind of
just gonna
stuck
go
on that
this way.
path, so it's good.
Yeah, I don't blame you on a couple of those swims. I'm like, I'd rather not run in the sand. I'll swim the extra 100 meters and kind of save it. So
So you two obviously hit it off. It sounds like in your first Casco on the long course. Kind of when did Attila, the swim run world championship, kind of come into your realm of possibility?
Well, I would say the swim run world champs came into my realm of possibility in 2017 when I did my first Casco Bay. It was
You
just kind
immediately
of
got the
like
bug.
waiting for the right partner to come along who was, willing to brave the cold waters of Sweden and the Baltic Sea and make the big trip and do it. And Hugh came along, and I don't know, when did we start really talking about it and getting serious about it?
So yeah, from my memory, when I first got into swimrun, Casco Bay was like my dream. I really wanted to do it. And from my memory, after our first Casco, I think I reached out at the end of the year and was like, Sarah, we had a great time. Would you like to partner up again? And I was rejected. To embarrass Sarah a
I
little
had
bit.
just done
Wow.
Austin with Diane. And so we kind of carried that forward.
Yeah, but rejection might not have been a part of Partners Month, so I wanted to get that out. But I found another partner for the fogged out
Happy ending,
Casco. Yeah. I remember after the post race, we were eating together, and you and Diane were kind of talking about Worlds and that you wanted to do Worlds, and kind of talking about how it might be easier to qualify as a female team. And I don't think I really talked about it then, but in my head, I was thinking I really need to get Sarah as a partner and to dissuade her from going that
Nice.
direction. And so I like soon after
Well,
that,
and it was perfect.
Casco,
I'm so glad we did.
yeah, because the qualification was more complicated then, but I like wrote Sarah an email with like an entire plan of how we could qualify. And it was mostly like, because we're not going to qualify at that time. I think we like winning a race or one of the merit races, that probably wasn't going to be our way in. But doing a lot of races and just getting a lot of points was going to be how we could qualify. And so I don't remember when we kind of made a plan, but that next year I did a good number of races. I had a great year, mostly racing with Anna Moss. And Sarah and I did Casco again, but we accumulated a lot of points and decided we would enter.
Nice.
Yep, and we've already got a plan for doing it again, hopefully. Cross fingers, right?
Well,
Okay.
before we get to doing it again, now, Hugh, I know that you're super stoked on Swimrun. Everybody knows you're super stoked on Swimrun. What was it like, if you want to give us sort of a mini race report, like finally being boots on the ground in Sweden for, the original race? And I know we chat a little bit like after that race, but for folks watching or listening at home, can you just like give us what your take of it was finally as someone who really loves swimrun to go to basically like the mecca of swimrun?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. And in all these places, I've heard about, mostly from you guys. But yeah, going through the islands, seeing what the different islands are like was pretty amazing. And kind of in that vein, I'll jump ahead to the end, but like at the kind of after party on Uta and talking with Jesper, one of the original four, and we like closed down the bar with him and hearing his story about the original race was just something I'll never forget, and for the history of the race and the lore and all that. Because his story is very different. You should have him on sometime to tell his story. It's really amazing.
We've tried. The original four are shy, apparently. They don't want the oral history put out there, I guess.
Well, and Sarah, I know you made it a family affair and a huge long vacation trip. How was the journey to Sweden and finally getting to go out there and to have your family with you to boot? How was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, having the family there was amazing. My kids crashed our finish line photo and crossed the finish line with us. So I hope
Awesome.
that's okay with you. I would recommend it highly. I mean, they loved it. They loved being at Jejurin on set. Is that how you say it?
During
How do you say
acid,
it?
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And doing the infinity pool and the robes, and they were endlessly occupied with the jellyfish all day, and just being part of it was really neat. they were able to get boots on the ground at the race at, I think, 2 of the aid stations. And then they got to see a lot more of the race even. I was very pleased with how much of the backside, I mean, because we were towards the back, that they stayed connected with. They got to see us rappel down that one section and swim across there. They were there. So they got to see a ton. It was just amazing. I mean, I think Hugh and I also, as partners, did a really good job preparing for the race because he did all kinds of recon and really understood the first few islands and how technical they'd be and what was involved in them. I think I didn't grasp as much how different it would be from Casco Bay and some of the other islands. Everyone kept saying, it's unique, and it's different from everything else that you've ever experienced. And I didn't really fully understand it. And then, like, I'm very detailed, so I think you guys both saw, my husband showed you our little, like, laminated pace chart of where we were supposed to be when to make sure we were making our cutoffs and stuff. So just did a lot of research that way and just making sure that we knew kind of what we needed to do to get to the finish line successfully. Yeah, and just doing those, like, those crazy slippery rocks. We were at the practice with Marcus a couple of days before the race, and
Oh, nice.
that was, I mean, if anyone goes, they should really do that because that was, I mean, I don't know what I would have done if I hadn't have done that. I even slipped on that a couple of times to the point where Hugh was like, do you want to keep practicing? And I'm like, no, I don't want to hurt myself before the race. I think I've gotten my experience and I'm done.
Yeah, the shakeout sessions are always so helpful, and especially in Sweden. I know we had the same feeling. It's like people are telling you, "Oh, the rocks, they're really different," and there's not like, but you don't know until you kind of see it and experience it for yourself there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and then there was
certainly.
one during the race where Hugh said, "Oh, how do you want to go down this?" And I said, "We're running down it and belly flopping it." I was like, "We're going for it."
There was one that I
yeah, I
remember
know exactly
distinctly.
that.
It's a good technique.
There was one that I remember distinctly. It was one of the kind of run in and belly flop ones, and I was kind of standing there looking at the people in front of us, trying to see like, oh, why are they going that way, and kind of know, trying to figure out how I should swim it. And Sarah's like, just go.
I think I was
Sally.
slipping and I was about to fall. So I was like, we got to go now.
It's like countdown has begun.
Yeah.
I've already launched. Yeah, and that is a helpful when you're going in, kind of seeing where other people are, especially on a race like World Champs. There's a million different ways to get in the water there, but kind of seeing how other people are getting along with it, you might take a different route, or if they're getting on just fine, maybe follow them.
Yeah, we definitely followed people a couple times.
Yeah,
Our
well-
transitions were pretty good, but they could still improve. I think at
Yeah, I
Sweden
mean-
this year was the first time we actually like tethered and stayed tethered together for the most part. Before prior years, we'd always kind of tethered and untethered during the runs, and it really is a lot easier. It's a lot less to kind of juggle.
Yeah, that's half of why we stay tethered the whole time as well. Is just it's less to manage, and yeah, it's just much simpler. But what were some highlights from your day out there in September last year at ÖTILLÖ?
I think my number one highlight was Hugh struggled a little bit on Orno, and then I was taking the lead, and I took the lead on the swim after that, and I was getting a little bit worried. And then he got out of the swim, and I think I coined a new phrase, Hugh Bowman just add water. Because, like, the minute he got it back into the water, he was, like, ready to go again. It was amazing.
Yeah. I think Sarah said at some point after the race that she wasn't sure if I was going to get in the water at Orno. Like, I was in rough shape. I was struggling really hard. But after the next swim, I was totally a different person.
I was almost not keeping up to him on the run. He was, like, charging.
Took off.
I had a great time the rest of the race. It was wonderful, but Orno was a long slog.
Yeah, you wouldn't be the only one to describe it that way, I think. I know I've certainly felt that way during parts of it, but nothing like a nice, refreshing swim to recharge your batteries and fuel you back up.
Yeah, it really is true that you can run a lot further on the swim runs because you do get those swimming breaks, at least if you're a strong swimmer. It really helps. I would say our other highlight was just making it through the 11 a.m. cutoff. I mean, I think both of us leaving that aid station were just kind of on a high and breathing a sigh of
Nice.
relief and kind of just ready to just tackle the rest of the day.
Yeah, the second aid station was huge. That was like a mini race in itself. I'd been thinking about that cutoff for a long time, many months, and to get there was huge. And another highlight would be just kind of by coincidence, we saw a lot of familiar faces along the course for the whole day, and like Scott and Diane and Tracy and Sarah, and it was great to see those people throughout the day.
Yeah, that is the really fun aspect of swimrun is just leapfrogging and seeing people. Whereas in a pure running race, you would probably get past and not see them again. But it just with the way it works, having the leapfrog aspect of it.
Yeah, and I know Sarah swims at the master's program with us, so she sees us too many times, three to four times a week sometimes. But I know you were concerned about the cutoff situation. Did you have kind of a little bit of a different strategy to maybe, although most people would advise against going out too hard, but you want to make sure you're making those cutoffs? Did you have a certain strategy to try to make those early cutoffs, especially that 11 a.m. one I know is key?
I'll say that Sarah's experience running ultras and planning out those races was huge for us. And for me, especially because I haven't done a lot of that. And she had a lot of, like maybe the first cutoff on Run Mara, it wasn't just making the cutoff, but making it, we needed to have this much buffer, maybe more than 30 minutes or something. So Sarah's planning for us and getting through the race, making the cutoffs was huge.
Yeah, it was nice because we stayed very true to the pace chart and to like what we had planned out and prepped for. So we were very lucky. I mean, if we hadn't been lucky and we had been behind or something, I don't know what we would have done. But I also made it conservative, and I made it so that we didn't go out too fast. Also, I think that first island was probably, I don't know about you, Hugh, but that was one of the hardest for me because you were there with us, Chipper. I think we were like one of the last teams to enter the water at the start. I'm pretty sure. We were far in the back. No, after we left the start, going into the first swim, we were one of the last teams getting into the water.
Oh, right. I was running behind
You were running with us. You passed
everyone
us.
and the Iron Cowboy.
Yep. Anyways, so we were really far in the back during the first swim. And then when we got out of the first swim, we were pretty far forward. And that next run with all the slippery rocks and having everyone pass us, that was really hard. To me, that was probably about the most challenging of the whole day. Because I didn't want to like stop running and step aside and let people go. But like they were all just anxious to get in front of us. And I didn't want to outdo it. So it was a little bit hectic, that one, I would say. That was probably my lowest point of the day was that second run.
Yeah, and it also has to be like just sensory overload. Like it's super slippery.
So
You're
much
running
going on.
ice. There's a lot going on. You just finished this mile-long swim. It's beautiful out. There's like just every emotion is just kind of hitting you. Yeah, and certainly you don't want to feel like a bottleneck, but there is a cliff like right next to you. Like, what are you supposed to do, right? It's yeah. I mean, those first couple islands are just. I mean, it's you can't replicate it. We can talk about it. We can tell people about it. We can warn people. But it's really until you actually have boots on the ground, you really get a sense of, wow, this is really something different.
Yeah, I mean, it seems a lot like orienteering to me in a lot of ways. I mean, in the fact that you're kind of really going through nature and it's a questionable trail at best a lot of the times where you are.
Yeah. Trail is very loosely used. Or
Yeah.
like sort of, like a deer trail would be an over classification, I think even.
Yeah.
But
But
so
just
much fun.
huge props too to the organizers and how well marked it was. It was crazy well marked. There was never a doubt of where we were.
Right.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
We were gonna say, Hugh, but it's still fun in its way. But it's just
Yeah, it's still fun.
just
I really liked the more technical islands where I didn't have to like run at a certain pace. I was just kind of like power hiking, climbing. That was a lot of fun. And then it came and it wasn't like that at all. That was the main stretch.
Oh man,
I think there might still be some trauma there, Hugh. We should work through that a little bit later, but yeah, I mean, it is a blast. And yeah, I think one thing that took me, and I would be curious to hear, Sarah and Hugh, how you felt about it, like how engaged and like turned on you have to be from awareness, because you are in the wood, like you can't sort of like clock out from your, you have to really be so engaged, because it's so, you're ducking under branches and this and that. Everywhere you go, you really got to be super focused. I found that to be very surprising, and also kind of draining on your energy as well.
Yeah, I was kind of like Hugh. I liked it, and that kind of kept me engaged with the race and the whole experience. I preferred that, actually. You too, Hugh?
And speaking of ducking under branches, at some point I caught my wetsuit on a branch, and I didn't realize until after the race that I ripped like a huge chunk out of my neck.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, I will not be able to use that wetsuit again. But there was also I think towards the end of Orno, when my legs were just gone, and there was a branch that I had to like do a full deep squat under, and I let out the loudest yelp trying to stand up after going under this tree.
I think I remember that log, because I remember
Okay.
going under that. I'm like, are we serious right now that we have to? I think I just crawled under it probably. I remember being very upset it was there both times.
But swimrun is a great sport, everybody.
I love it though. It's amazing.
It'll change your life. It'll blow your
Yeah,
mind.
give me that over the Orno asphalt any day.
And Sarah, I know your family was there cheering you on. How did you both feel getting to ÖTILLÖ and knowing you have about 3Ks left to go on the hill and you're all there? How was it to reach that final island?
I mean, we had, leaving the second to last island, we saw Diane and Scott right in front of us. So they were within sight, but we just got to ÖTILLÖ and we're like, yeah, we're just going to cruise it in. That's fine. We're not going to try to chase them down.
Yeah.
And then we kind of cruised on in. I don't even remember. It's kind of a blur how long that section was. Is that like 3 miles, that last island? I can't remember.
It's like
It's a couple miles,
2-ish miles, something like that.
Yeah.
3 or 4K, I think.
So then my whole family was there with the kids and Greg. And I remember we had agreed that we were going to run, walk, take it easy in, and then do our best up the hill. And then we saw my husband and we're like, man, now we have to run earlier. So
That's how Chipper and I are when there's a camera. I was like, God damn it. Gotta
Yeah,
start
we got to get
looking
moving
good.
here.
yeah, but it was just, I mean, it was so amazing and magical. Bronwyn and Greg were down kind of by the tennis court area. So they were cheering us on at the end. And then everyone, you guys and my family, and everyone was kind of running us in. And it was spectacular.
Yeah. I mean, Sarah, you've done a ton of sort of ultra triathlons, all sorts of stuff. Where does the sort of the ÖTILLÖ finish line kind of rank in your book from the events you've done?
I might say it's like the tippy top. I mean, it might be number one for me. I think the
Wow.
only thing that would like come close to it is Tahoe 200. And that was just epic in a whole totally different way.
Yes.
I was more like,
And by
I'm so
200,
asleep.
we don't mean 200 meters. We mean 200 miles, people.
Yeah.
To be honest, Swimrun and this race in World Championships is actually my ultra running origin story, because I fell in love with Swimrun in 2017 and I knew I wanted to do this race. And so I said, I better go try a 50K to make sure I can do this race. And so in 2019, I did my first 50K. I loved it so much that 6 weeks later, I did my first 50 miler. And it's been
Wow.
it's
been
been
a
a little bit of
sickness.
slippery slope.
Yeah.
It's definitely
But
been a-
this
yeah.
race is what got me to do all of that. So it's really special to actually get there and do that.
that's
To
so
get there,
awesome.
but I got there.
Amazing. That's such a great story.
Yeah.
was it
Now,
for-
looking forward, so you guys are doing Colorado and Casco. What was the thinking behind doing Colorado? I mean, Casco, I get it. You know, everyone's got to do Casco this year. 10th edition.
that's
like,
true,
Come on,
10th edition.
we got to sell this thing out. Use the code low tide 10.
10?
Chipper.
Yeah, I
Titan,
think that's it.
Save 10% off registration. Like, don't sleep on it. But let's talk about Colorado. So, Hugh, that's one's a little bit closer to you, I guess, from from Illinois over there. What was it about that race that made you guys want to do it besides its extreme level of difficulty and beauty?
The course looks amazing. Has a lot of climbing. I haven't done it yet. You guys have, but I think there's some technical sections. There's some long swims. Also, my sister lives out there, so we'll make a
Nice.
weekend out of it. Hopefully, she'll be out on the course. Either she might do experience, she might be volunteering, but that's a big thing for me.
That's pretty fun. Yeah, you just were like, which race has the most swimming? I'll do that one. I'll sign up for that one. There's no swim that's shorter than like a K, right, Chris?
I don't know, man.
They were all 1,200, 1,400. They were all meaty swims, so right up your alley, Hugh.
Yeah, Hugh and I live awfully far apart, and we both have families and kids, and so finding the right scheduling to get us to both at these races is not an easy feat all the time. So we do the best we can. So far, we've only done Casco Bay and Worlds, so now we're excited to go do another different race together.
So obviously you guys, one's in California, one's in the Midwest. How do you guys think about your training? Do you guys just independently training, or do you like check in with each other? Tell us a little bit about sort of how you, as you get closer to a race, how do you kind of like dial in your planning and training?
I would say we kind of train independently. For Worlds, we checked in pretty regularly. Other races, I think we've pretty much trained independently and maybe checked in a less often.
Yeah, we checked in a lot for going into Worlds just to make sure we were on the same page and like knew what we were
Yeah.
planning and were we okay with this plan and on the same page. But yeah, for Casco Bay, we've pretty much, especially for that first year, we just, oh, hi, you're Hugh. And I was out on the island too. So when I go to Casco Bay,
Oh,
I'm a
that's
little bit
right.
removed from the whole community because I'm not in Portland. So I think we just met at packet pickup the first time. And every year I'm like, poor Hugh, I'm like a little bit removed and not as in the mix of like everything. So last year he came out to the island and did a training day after the race, and we did Vail, and
Oh, nice.
my kids biked around with us, and so like we try to get a little bit of time together that way. But like the other races that I've done where I've been able to be a little bit more involved, like Austin and stuff, we just haven't been able to connect at.
Yeah.
It's usually at the end of my son's baseball season, so it's hard for me to get to Austin sometimes.
Yeah, playoffs and all that. Yeah, especially coming. So when you do kind of sync up the day or two before, you're kind of measuring the tether, working through a couple transitions. If you're doing a little shakeout swim run, just to get things kind of dialed in and for the race, or you just wait till the gun goes off to figure that stuff out.
We pretty much just wait till the gun goes off and then we just go for it. I mean,
there you
at
go.
World Champs, we definitely did the shakeout ahead of time, but so that was a little bit of practice, and that was really good practice. But that was also like testing, like, oh, what suit should I wear? What suit are you wearing? We both don't get cold that easily, but we didn't want to get cold, and so we were a little bit, unsure of how to approach that.
And I think at Casco this year too, we were trying more to dial in our transitions than we had before. Before we, I don't think we were super slow, but we were a little more focused this time. And Sarah brought up the day after Casco, we went back out to Vail and did some more practice, just I think as a confidence boost. But our Casco race this year on Vail was huge for us. And like Sarah, I think got a Strava crown on Casco.
Well, I don't know, just get crowned.
Vail.
Ron
Nice.
definitely has that,
Yeah.
but I was pretty high up. It was good.
Yeah.
The local legend, Vail Island local legend.
Yeah, I mean, definitely putting, I guess it goes with the team name, Party Pace, right? Like a little bit more laid back, trying to enjoy the experience, not
Party
really
in the
trying to,
back.
yeah. makes
Well, and
sense.
so after the fog year, we actually had named ourselves Team Anti-Fog. And that was actually kind of ironic too, because then we had a great weather in 2024. But then this year we were like, okay, we need a better name for Worlds and stuff. And so we came up with Team Party Pace. And then, lo and behold, we had that whole talk the night before the race about the possible fog, and we're like, oh, we jinxed ourselves. Like, now we're going to get fog again. Stuck
Yeah,
with Team
well-
Anti-Fog.
Well, so we were with the ÖTILLÖ crew and had broke bread with them and stuff, and to see how stressed out. I mean, now we can all laugh
Yeah,
about
that
it,
was-
but some of these folks on the ÖTILLÖ crew, like hardcore Swedish, Swiss people, they seemed extremely worried about the
Yeah,
potential
well, I
for
mean, if you
fog and
can't
how
see
this
where you're
contingency
swimming,
plan-
it's no
You
joke.
can't do it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it ended
you
up being
could
a beautiful day.
definitely- It ended up being an amazing day. Nice. Colorado, Casco will be a great year. And it sounds like bank some points is the goal this year, and then maybe another bid at the World Champs. Do I hear that correctly?
Do we hear that
Yeah,
correctly,
I
Hugh?
think that's the plan.
Okay, there we go.
It's like mediation.
Yeah,
So
it's
you
like,
guys get to
right,
go for one.
everybody?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it's a
awesome.
big commitment. So if it doesn't happen, it's fine. But I think that's the ultimate plan, hopefully.
So
I
final
definitely have
que-
to go back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think going back a second time is really important, just to really round out the memory and see what you're made of. But I want to ask you one last question before we let you go. In the spirit of Partners Month, what advice would you give to anyone in looking for a partner? Like, what qualities do you guys think are important in a prospective partner?
So I think just being on the same page is super important. I mean, like Hugh spoke to earlier, neither one of us are like the fastest runners. And I've always felt tremendously comfortable with Hugh and just really enjoyed the whole experience from start to finish. It's just been wonderful days out there. And it's just, for me, that's what it's all about, is just going out and enjoying a day and having these wonderful experiences. And so if you're a super competitive type, then you need to be on the same page with your partner about that's what you want to get out of the day. So just really, enjoying the day. And I don't think I've ever seen Hugh frustrated. I think I'm lucky.
She was like, I'm not sure about that.
I mean, yeah, I agree with Sarah. And like, you don't have to train with the person regularly. You don't have to run at the same speed or swim at the same pace. But if you just want to go out and enjoy the day together, it's amazing. Even if you just meeting the person the day before, it can be a really amazing experience. And you can connect with them and keep doing races with them for many years down the line.
Yeah, that's a great point, Hugh. I think sometimes, especially new people coming in, get really caught up on like, oh, they need to run the exact same pace as me or swim the same pace. Not necessarily how it has to be for you to have a good and enjoyable swim run experience. You can have a total mismatch of fitness and paces and still have a great time.
Yeah, I mean, I've done one race with my husband. I did Orcas Island with him in 2019. And that pretty much ultimately defines mismatch paces because he's not the strongest swimmer and he's a way better runner than me. But I think we were out there and I think he said something along the line. We were both like, this is like the best date we've had in years as we were like running through and doing it. So yeah, just enjoying the day together, I think, is really what it's all about.
When are you and Greg going to race again?
Well, he's recovering from a separated shoulder, so it might be a little while before he swims again. We'll see. He needs to find the short swim races, lake swims, short swims, things like that.
You can pull them.
Yeah, he's fine. No, zero,
Yeah,
zero
no
lack
worries
of
about it.
confidence. In his
Yeah, and I
ability
didn't
to
use
do
the
it.
tether back then when we did that either. And he
Wow.
made me lead on the runs so that I would set the pace. But now I know better. Now I'm like, I'm tethering in,
Yeah.
and you're pulling me along.
Exactly. It's the
Nice.
magic of the tether. People's like, oh, it's just to stay in contact with the water. It's like, no, sometimes you need to get pulled up this hill.
Yeah,
There you
sometimes there's
go.
work to be done.
Yeah, and I just
So
think
true.
for Swimrun too, like the whole partner is so special. I mean, I've done a lot of races, and I'm really lucky in the fact that I've only ever done partner races. I've never raced solo. And it's not always easy. I mean, you're not going to always find partners. You're going to go out on Facebook pages and look for random people, which can work out tremendously wonderful. Or, just really kind of searching your friends and convincing someone to take a leap of faith and kind of dive in on that with you. But I really think it's worthwhile to get the partners and do it together. It's a really special experience.
I mean,
Couldn't agree more.
yeah, that's why we love this sport in many ways. I mean, for Chipper and me, it was really the team aspect that was a real initial draw to us. And one of the reasons why we love Partners Month and why all of our listeners and viewers love Partners Month. So thank you guys both for coming on. Sarah's been a long time coming to get you on the show, given we're, ostensibly neighbors. And Hugh, thanks for coming back on. Appreciate you as ever. And best of luck. Your swim runs and other adventures the rest of this year.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us. It's amazing. You guys do a great job.
Thanks. We're trying.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a rating or review, since that's the best way to help other people discover the show and the sport of swim run.
Check out our website, lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z, for swimrun resources, including gear guides, tips, how-to videos, and so much more. Make sure to check out our meme page at The Low Tide Boys on Instagram. If you have any questions or suggestions for the show, send us a DM or email us at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Riding Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of our swim run and other activities.
Lots of activities.
Lots of activities.
Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
Then a run,
And then a swim,
then another run,
then another swim.
then run some more.
Just keep going.
Let's go.
And then stop at some point because,
And fuel. Don't forget to fuel.
Gotta fuel
Of
too.
course, yes.